Welcome to today's live. Let me fix this. All right, get everything down. Today I'm going to train about building out your life with the correct premise. Building out your life, your business, and your relationships with the right premise. And I'm going to show you what premises you could be applying into your life, business, and relationships that will make you more happy, more satisfied, more fulfilled on the long term. This is your life. This is a timeline of your life. What's up? Welcome. All right, so let's begin with the pun of the day. There were two girls sitting by the beach, by the sand, and one of them says to her friend, I slept with a Brazilian. And her friend replies, oh my God, how many is a Brazilian? All right, so let's begin with this. Building out your life, relationships, and business with the correct premise. Anything you don't, and anything you know that you don't know why you know it is suspect. Which means anything you know and you don't know why you know that thing bears scrutiny. You need to evaluate it and ask yourself why you know that thing. And I'll give you some examples, of what premises you could be starting your relationships and business and life with. So, if I were to ask you, do you know why? Most people, if I were to ask you, when you put gas in your car, do you leave your car on or do you turn your car off? Overwhelmingly, most people reply, I turn my car off, and I ask them why. And most people say because it might blow up my vehicle, or spark may occur and cause an explosion, or so that I can't just run away with my car and not pay, or it's because the sign says so. So most people don't really know why you turn off the vehicle when you put gas in your car. The truth is, it doesn't do any harm to leave your car on when you put gas in your car. In 1973, 1974, there was an oil crisis with the Middle Eastern countries and the U.S. So the price of gas at that time hiked. It skyrocketed. At the same time, I don't know if many of you remember this, but there were gas station attendants whose sole job it was to put gas in your car while you sit in your car and wait, and they would tell you to turn your car off. The reason why was because at that time we used unleaded gas, and during the same time we began using something called unleaded gas, which we use today. Unleaded gas didn't have the poison that it did, that leaded gas did, because lead would pollute the air and it would be detrimental and harmful for the individual putting the gas in your vehicle. And so when they got rid of leaded gas into unleaded gas, there was no longer any harm for the individual. And at the same time, when the oil crisis was made it so the price of gas skyrocketed, the owners of the gas station would say, what's up, Harley? The owners of the gas station would say, let's get rid of the gas station attendants because there's no need for them, and people could, and then what ended up happening was self-serve gas, which is what we do now today. There are some still places that still have gas station attendants. So self-serve gas, now you serve your own gas, now you don't have leaded gas. There was no longer any reason for you to turn off your vehicle. But people today still do turn off their vehicle for no reason at all, just because they don't question why they do what they do, why they do things. And so that's my question for you today. Why do you do the things that you do? And do you have the correct premise whenever you're with everything that you're doing? Have you asked yourself, why are you doing what you're doing? So I was speaking with my sweetie this morning, and we were talking about college and how overwhelmingly college is just a tremendously irresponsible thing, because most people that go into college, they go into college not knowing they want that certain thing specifically, and they desire for the end result of that college after 4 years. And at a very young age, sign a contract where they sign this contract of money management, financial exchange of debt, several thousands of dollars, some people hundreds of thousands of dollars for something they're not sure they want the result of which at the end of that college. And so overwhelmingly, if we know many people who went to college and are now doing the thing which they didn't go to college for, only owing the debt which you cannot go bankrupt on. You owe the debt forever and ever and ever. And so it's a tremendously irresponsible thing. So if you were to ask yourself at that very young age, why am I going to college? Should I go to college? And my advice would be, don't go to college until you know for sure exactly why you're going to college for, that the result of that college is something you actually want for yourself. And so let me give you one more metaphor to illustrate, beginning with the correct premise. There was a man climbing a building. A man decides to climb a building, and the building doesn't have an elevator, it just has stairs. Stairs and stairs and stairs of stories and stories. It's the tallest building in the world, and it takes him 10 years of climbing this building. He climbs the building, and one day he says, 10 years later, checks, I wonder how I'm doing. And so he looks out the window, goes into a room, lifts up the window to look at the surroundings, and opens the window, and with a shocking surprise, says to himself, oh my God, I have been climbing the wrong building all these years. It is incredibly important to begin your relationships, your lifestyle, and your business with the correct premise. So what does it look like, business, social, business life, and relationships? For business, what is your premise? What is your axiom? Premise is what you begin with. What is the foundational thinking? Axiom is what you base all of your logic on. Axiom is the central foundation of your thinking. It's what you base your logical strategy on. So what is your axiom for your business? What is your premise? Is it to provide value? Is it to take value? Is it to connive people? So my encouragement for your business is make the axiom of your business to provide value to people, because the more value you provide, the more value you provide to more people, the more you'll get in return in terms of monetary exchange, of whatever the exchange is, right? They will pay more for the value. The more value you create, the more prosperity you have. So with that logic in mind, you can build out your business and you can think differently. And the difference in thinking is thinking, how can I provide value today to other people? What can my product do to serve other people? What can my service do to serve other people? And how can I improve the value of my service so that I can make more money? How can I improve the value of my product so that I can make more money? In life, we have life, there's life, and we can just live, and there's lifestyle, is how you live it. So in life, my axiom, I like the axiom freedom. Freedom is incredibly important, and most people don't have that axiom, don't have that premise. So I was watching this show, it's called Suits. It's a very good show, it's a very awesome show. But in Suits, if you watch a show, you will notice, what's up, Blade? If you watch a show, you'll notice that all they do, all day, every day, for 7 seasons, is they focus on their work. And these guys are amazing, smart people that make a lot of money. They're lawyers. And they have amazing dynamics in fun stories, fun relationships, fun dynamics in the office. What they don't show you is how they're living outside of work. Their life is comprised primarily of their work. They don't have good relationships. They don't have good lifestyles. And if you watch a show, you'll notice it, right? They don't have much of a life outside of their work. Now, is that the premise you want to begin with? Do you want your life to be just about work? You want to think about that. So I encourage you to have freedom as your premise, and then base your life, base your business, base everything out of that. Freedom. Freedom to do things you want, with the people you want, and in places that you want. So in relationships, okay, so relationships is one of my favorite topics. What is the premise you should have on your relationships? Most people don't have a premise, just like somebody goes to college not knowing what they want to do in college, and in 4 years not having a job that that uses a college degree only to owe hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. Same thing with relationships. Are you going into relationships with the correct premise? Are you going to a relationship out of love, or is it out of just because you're supposed to be in a relationship? Is it because you want the title of having a spouse, a husband or a wife? Is it because a lot of people, just because they want the approval of other people, even though they are gay or they don't like their counterpart, they stay in the marriage. And more surprisingly, when they get off that marriage, just because they want the approval of other people, or they can't bear the scrutiny of other people, the judgments of other people, they marry another person of the opposite gender, even though they don't like the opposite gender, they're gay. So it's incredibly important you base your relationships on the right premise. I like to base my relationships on love. So an example for you is define what is love. What is love to you? Most people define it differently. Well, love is wanting for your beloved's happiness intrinsic to your own, which means when you have a relationship, the notion of jealousy and ownership and possessiveness has nothing to do at all with love. Do you see? So I encourage you to take a look at your relationships and find out what rules you have, what rules you don't have, or what presuppositions you have. Most people stay in relationships where everything is presupposed, everything is taken for granted, and everything is just, I thought this was how you're supposed to do things. I just thought. There is no clear communication, there is no candid communication, there's no openness of communication because of all the possessiveness and the titles and the lack of open communication. All right, so that's my call to action for you today. My call to action for you today is find out where you are, look out the window and find out, are you doing what you want to do? Why are you doing what you want? And is it founded on freedom? Is it founded on providing value? Is it founded on love?